Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe back, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for, what is it? October 15th, 2023. So this was a good reading week. I mean, I got through a lot. I'm really happy with it. My reading has been kind of weird the last few weeks. I feel like I'm reading too fast in a lot of ways, but also every time I kind of slow down, then I feel guilty that I'm not reading, which is insane. But the point is that I think I read a little too fast this week, even though I had times where I didn't read a whole lot on that part of that day. I don't know why. I feel maybe I'm forgetting things a little faster than I should. So I'm so glad I do weekly updates. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe just this week because there was so much going on for Friday. So my cousin did have his wedding on Friday. It of course started raining when we were on our way to the wedding venue. It was really a pretty place in Lake Oswego and really gorgeous. But it was raining, so we all had umbrellas. So I'm glad I bought the outfit that I did because I had a maroon top with a black cardigan over it that I'm so glad I bought that because I wasn't going to. I was just going to wear the top, and I'm so glad because it wasn't cold. It was just wet. Anyway, but we made it through. They got married. We got to the reception, was right there, of course, and it was really a fun time with family. But again, I was rushing on my video that I put out about my rolls for Spookoplathon. We're kind of a little rushed, so I apologize for that. But that was the best I could do with how much stuff happened earlier that day because I had the day off because, again, the wedding was at 4:30 and I usually get off at work at 4. So I had just taken the day off and I did a lot of errands and some doctor appointments and lab work and stuff. It took forever. Anyway. So, but then yesterday I totally did like nothing. Well, my brother and I went grocery shopping like we do. And then, I got home, then went and got a coffee because I was like, oh no, I need a coffee. So I went and got Dutch Brothers and came back. And then I didn't do much of anything. I did do the dishes, which is one chore I did, but everything else I just played Animal Crossing. I watched a lot of BookTube because I didn't get to watch the last, the day before at all. And then, and then I read a book. So it wasn't the book I was in the middle of. So anyway, so we're going to talk about the books that I read, the ones I'm in the middle of, and what I think I'm going to read in the next week. As I said, who knows? Because I'm such a mood reader, and I definitely am feeling that right now. I was watching somebody last night, I think it was Storm Reads, and she was talking about how she doesn't like strict TBRs, and I really thought about that, and again, I don't either, but which is why whenever I have a TBR, I always give myself flexibility not to read the same book right away. She was doing it for her Spookoplathon. She was rolling as she went for a weekend reads. I will link her video below just because it's kind of long, but I like long vlog videos on reading, and I think it was really interesting, because she said that and I knew exactly. And that's why I've been doing my rolls weekly where I roll, well, I'm supposed to be only rolling 3 times, but me in doubles, yeah, I get a lot of doubles. Anyway, the point is that then my TBR is a little bigger, but that gives me stuff to mood read around. So to me, it works for me. I think I've really come to the realization that I will never be one of those people who can read one book and then, do a readathon and I have to read the next one. Like if there's ever any of those kind of readathons, I always stay away from them. I always know myself, I won't want to read the next book. I want to read something else. I'll come back to that book. I'll go to that book at some point, but I just can't do it in order. Anyway, that was kind of just a little side note. Anyway, so let's talk about the book, one of the books I DNF'd. So one of the books I DNF'd was one of the ones on the Spookopoly. Spookoplathon is put on by Becca in the Books for the month of October this year. I will have all her information down below. I've really enjoyed this. I've never got to participate before because usually it's in September, and I think she does a smaller one other times of the year, but this year she did it in October due to her travel schedule. So it was really nice that I'm doing it because I'm getting to a lot of books that I want to get to, but I also am getting a lot of rolls, so I have a lot of options. But I picked one of these that I have been wanting to read almost all year. I bought it earlier in the year, and it was one of those books that I just thought, oh, this could be just a weird fantasy-ish, historical fantasy-ish kind of book, and I would really enjoy it. But I could not make it past 25 pages, and that is The Peculiarities by David Liss. So this one did not go well for me. I right away just, I mean, I went and looked at reviews afterwards, but that you get to like the main character more the farther you go in, but I just didn't care enough at all to read the beginning part. Like, he just drove me crazy, and his thoughts, because we're in his head. I think the world was going to be interesting because of the quirkiness. So again, I only read 25 pages, so I didn't get very far, but I don't care, and I couldn't force myself to read this, so I'm not going to. So this is 1899, and I think his name is Thomas. Yeah, so Thomas is forced by his father's will to join the bank that his family runs. His brother who is much older than him, is now in charge, and Thomas is this lowly clerk. But something weird is happening. There's these peculiarities. I can't say that word. Yeah, whatever. that word. that is that people think are not really true, but there's some kind of a magic of some sort in the fog. And he keeps having little evergreen leaves like appear on his skin, and he has been taking them off, and they're getting more prevalent, but they're still in places where nobody can see them. They're under his clothes when he takes them off. And right where I stopped was, his brother might be afflicted with the same thing. We're not sure. But the point is that it's supposed to be where, that's not a normal thing, But something weird is happening. But the problem I had with this is that he is being forced into an arranged marriage. And again, this is 1899 London. And again, this is kind of like a fictionalized or a fantasy-ish side of, London at 1899. So there's a lot of things with that time period. And he is being forced to be in an arranged marriage with a woman of Jewish descent. And the things he talks about with that, I just couldn't do it. I just found it very repulsive to listen to his thoughts about her and her family and stuff. And it just, I mean, historically, I'm sure there are people who thought that, and that was okay, but I did not find any of that okay, and I didn't want to read it. And I got angry, and I was just like, I don't want to read this. I don't like to read anything about people saying things of that because due to religion or race or something. Like, to me, it was very repulsive. And I understand that probably changes. He changes as he goes through this book, because weird things are going to happen, but I just can't get there. I hated it so much in the first 25 pages. And as much as I paid for this book, I mean, I think I got it with a coupon or something at Barnes & Noble. I don't remember now, but whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm getting rid of it. I didn't like it, and I don't recommend it. But then again, I like weird fiction, but this one, I couldn't get past what was it wasn't politics. It's more just his thoughts on other people, and that wasn't the only thing that he talked about. I just didn't like it. And he was kind of, I don't know, it was annoying. So I'm gonna get rid of the book. I just didn't like it. So sorry that went a little long, but I just did not like that book. And again, I didn't get very far, so I'm sure, as I said, I think he probably grows and things and it'd probably be weirder, and I think it would be interesting if he hadn't included that. I just couldn't get past his thoughts. And again, if I don't like the main character, I'm not going to follow a book. I'm not one of those people who like to read about unlikable characters. I have to at least like them in a certain... I should have cut my bangs. Oh my God. Sorry. So I just don't like unlikable characters. Like, I have to at least like them to a certain extent in order to get through the book. Like, I don't know. I just... at all. Didn't like it at all. Anyway, so the point is, I'm getting rid of that book. That was for the orange prompt. For Spookoplathon, I landed on the mostly orange cover. So as you see, this was really orange. So anyway, I'm going to count that as done because I tried it and I did not like it. So then I think I was reading this. Did I just start it last week? I think so. Or I started it on Sunday. I can't remember, but I started My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levine. And overall, this was really fun. So this is kind of a vampire rom-com. So it was funny. Cassie, yeah. So Cassie needs a place to stay. She is being evicted in Chicago due to the fact that she has a lot of low income jobs because she is an artist with kind of mixed media or kind of interesting art style. and she hasn't found a job since she graduated, so she's just trying to make it by, but she needs a new place because she's being evicted for non-payment. And so she finds a listing on Craigslist for this really great apartment in a great location for like $200 a month, which is insane in Chicago. So she goes to meet him, and he is, of course, she thinks he's just gorgeous, and the place is just old looking, like it's from another time. I mean, it's well and clean, but it's just a lot of the stuff is really old furniture and stuff. But she's pretty desperate, and she doesn't feel any like super red flags. She's not sure, but she decides to go for it and becomes the roommate to Frederick. And so Frederick, of course, is keeping a secret, which will come out at some point. So this was really fun because her POV is driving the story. We're getting all her thoughts and what's going on. The plot is mostly through her. But we get a lot of letters, and we get their emails, and we get like mixed media in the way that there's letters and emails and stuff and text messages between Frederick and his friend. Well, not his friend. His associate, which of course his name went right out of my head. I think it's Reginald. Anyway, and their interaction, and then his interaction with his mother, and with the vampire world, the problems he has with somebody who thinks his mother wants to arrange a marriage for him. So, and things that happened in his past and her past, and it was like, this was just, but it was funny. Like, it was a lot of funny moments because for a while she doesn't know that he's a vampire, and so and then when it happens, it was pretty shocking for her. But I liked their interactions. I did like the romance mostly overall. I just found this was a really fun ride. I do think if you want something light and kind of fluffy with romance and a vampire, I think is really fun. I think the ending was a little I mean, not how it ended, the climax. I think that could have been done so differently. I think it was kind of almost like I wanted more a reason why that happened. Like, not, we had reasons for it, but not, I wanted more something more to happen before. I guess I just wanted a couple scenes before that would have shown why it escalated to that point. I think it was good. Like what happens. I think it's funny. It's so unrealistic. It's ridiculous, but it was funny, but it wasn't, I don't know. I just think, it could have been a little bit more to add to tension. I think if there had been more of a scene with what happens in the end happened a little earlier. I'm trying to be vague. I don't want to give anything away, but it was still good. Like, I still enjoyed this. I still found this a fun time. It was just light. I read this super fast, and, I would definitely pick up another book by her. I think there's going to be it doesn't list it yet, but it sounds like his friend, Reginald, is getting a book. Maybe. I don't know. It kind of gave hints that he might have a book with his romance stories. So, I would definitely pick that up. I found this just fun and light. And, again, it wasn't, emotionally, it didn't catch me that way, but I did laugh a few times in here. So I did, or laugh or smile, kind of as I was reading it because it's funny. So I really enjoyed that if you just want a really light time. Anyway, I'm glad I read that because I've been wanting to read that since I'd heard about it, and I'm glad I read it. And it was a debut novelist, so I would read her next book if she brings one out, especially in that series. So then just on a whim, I didn't listen to audiobooks the first couple days of the week because I've been listening to so many audiobooks in the last few weeks. So I knew I was going to have a break. So I took a break, and then Tuesday, I don't know what it was. I think it was Tuesday, I think it was. And I picked up one of my favorite books and did a reread on it by audio, and that is Rock Hard by Nalini Singh. This is book 2 in the is it Rock Addiction series? I don't remember. Whatever the first series is. And then it's also kind of loosely connected to her Hard Play series, because this is Gabriel, who is the brother to the ones who are in the other books, or part of the other books. Anyway, this one is A book is one of my favorite books of all time. I just love this book. It's just one of my favorite actual contemporary romances. And again, it's by one of my favorite authors. So she kind of was the only one of contemporaries I was reading there a couple of years ago. So, but we're following Gabriel, who is an ex rugby player, and he is in the business world now. And he comes in to help a struggling company. And Charlotte is works in the kind of computer area, the information center part of it. And it's what happens between them, because she has a lot of trauma in her past, and he has his own demons and stuff. And I just love the family in here, because again, they get the guys all get their books later in an adjacent series to this one. But I just I really enjoy this one. So, and it takes place in New Zealand, so that's kind of cool. And then again, it's just a fun it's not a rom-com. This is not, sorry, this is contemporary romance, and with some heavy themes, or, some of them, I mean, not brutal, but just hard. Anyway, for me, I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, I just really love this love story, and Gabriel and Charlotte are one of my favorites. So anyway, I've did a reread on that completely on a whim. I was just at work, and I was just like, oh, I want to start listening to that, and I just did. So anyway, so it was a reread. I then finished Dark Harmony by Laura Thalassa. This is so it's book 3 of the main, I think it's book 3 or the 4th book overall in the Bargainer series, because I think the 3rd book is technically a 2.5. So I would say that this is book 3, and that was that. Anyway, point is, this is the last book in the Bargainers series. So, the first book is Rhapsodic, which I read earlier this year. I think around May, I don't remember, somewhere around there. And then I read the other 2 books in early August. And then I didn't finish the last book. I don't know why I put it off, but I didn't even get to it in September. I meant to read it in September, and I just kept putting it off. So finally I picked it up. I was like, I did this for Becca Rec on Spookoplathon. So I really enjoyed this. It definitely didn't go in directions I expected, or how the end was not even in my mind of how that was going to go. A couple of the things were hinted at that I caught that I thought, I think it's probably there. And I was correct on certain things, but I had no idea how it was going to go or anything. This was just a fun ride. It is like 450 pages, but it was a quick read. Like, I read this super, super fast for fantasy romance. So the first book, the Rhapsodic, we're following Callie, and she it's a dual timeline, and it's showing from 7 years before, when she was a teenager, and she had something bad happen, and she calls on the Bargainer to help her get out of a situation. And then it's 7 years after that, when the Bargainer comes back to reclaim all of the bargaining beads that she had collected back those 7 years ago, and he's come to collect. And it's really, I really love the first book, because it was a really cool dual timeline of showing what happened in the past, and then how they were learning about each other in the present, and the things that were happening and things were going. And then book 2 and the 2.5 and the 2 and this one are all portal fantasy, so there are a lot of stuff with that with the Fae. Really, I thought it was really, the world is really well done. 2.5 was kind of a his perspective kind of thing, but it was showing his history, which I think was still good. I don't know if it was necessary. Well, I don't know. It's one of those things. But I really liked the way that it wrapped up in this one. I'm glad I finally finished this series. It was just fun. As I said, it was just, it was definitely one of those books that I read this so fast. It was such an easy read. And I really just flew through that. So I did finish that and a series. So I finished the Bargainer series. So I'm not doing so hot since I'm starting a lot of series, but that one I finished. I finished one. But I did also continue on with my buddy read with Berna at Berna's Bookish Adventures. We read Vamps and the City by Carolyn Sparks. This is book 2 in the Love at Stake series. So we had started this series last month. So we continued on. This one, I Okay, so I read most of this in physical, but there was one point in the middle where I had to get the audiobook, and it's read by Abby Craden, and I just had to listen to it because I could not get through it. But it was like just one small part, and then after that it was pretty good with her narration, so I just continued on. But I won't be able to do the audiobooks very often because my library doesn't have that many of them, but they had this one and it was available, so I just grabbed it real quick. So I would say I read maybe a third of this by audio, the rest I did physically. This one wasn't, the beginning was a little, wasn't as funny as the first book of How to Marry a Millionaire Vampire. But once you got deeper into it, it got really funny. So we're following Diana, who has not been a vampire for very long, and she is working for the Vampire Network, and she is producing a show, kind of like The Bachelor, but it's these people who were kind of in a harem who needs a new master. You know, that's the premise of the show. And so there's supposed to be the sexiest man alive. And so there's, she does a twist where most of the contestants will be vampires, but there will be several that are human. And the CIA operatives from the first book who know about vampires, they get two of their people onto the show. And one of them, Austin, is like falls for Diana pretty quickly, but then he has to deal with finding out, you know, because he doesn't at first think she's a vampire. So he's trying to save her, and then he like existential crisis when she is a vampire, and he doesn't know because he thinks they're all bad. And so it's like this tug and forth thing. It was really, again, the first half was a little not great. Her, again, Diana I really liked. It had nothing to do with her. It was more Austin I had trouble with. But then we got halfway through when the show was being filmed and things are happening. It was hilarious. It was just funny. It was back to the funny parts. And I really liked the way this ended. There was, you know, I maybe didn't like one thing in the ending, but it was like, it was the writer's choice. Like, it's fine. It wouldn't be what I would do in a vampire novel, but hey, whatever. But the point is that I liked the way, the things happened in the show, and all the characters, all the side characters. So again, this is a big series. This is like a 16 book series and a couple of novellas. So we are going to continue. We'll read book 3 in November. We're going to skip the Christmas one. That's 2.5. We're going to read that in December. So we're going to do one thing out of order, but I think we'll be okay. Anyway, it's fine. I think it'll be, they're just fun. What am I trying to say? Paranormal romances, you know, with vampires. I just think they're fun. And I'm glad we are continuing. So Bern and I had a good time with this one. So I'm hoping we'll continue to have a good time. Since I bought several and they're on their way here from Thrift Books. Then I finished an audiobook from the library. I had started it last week. So I don't know if I mentioned it. Maybe I did. I don't know. Or maybe I started earlier this week and then I finished. I don't remember what I did. Anyway, point is that I read What You Are Looking For Is in the Library by Michiko Aoyama. And this is translated by Allison Watts. So this was kind of a collection of 5 interconnected short stories. I mean, there were 5, and so we had 5 different narrators for each of the stories. And it was talking about them and their lives and where they were. And they were all different ages from like early 20s to 65. And so they all are at different stages in their life. And they're all not sure about things going on in their lives or what they want to do next. Or they feel kind of stuck where they're at. And so they at some point end up at this little library where they meet this librarian who gives them the information that they come in to ask for, but also an extra book and an extra little bonus gift, and kind of sets them on a different path. So, but it's very well done because it's very light touch of what she's doing that you don't, but the people like are internalizing how they're they're starting to think of things. So I think this went really well. I didn't really, I kind of paused, as I said, I did the first section and I was partway through the second one. Sorry. Which is, I didn't really, the second one was harder for me. Just because I was a career woman, with a young child. And so there were certain things in that one. It was harder to get through that one. But then after I got through more like halfway through her section, then I got back into it, and then I was able to read the rest of the stories. I think I just had to pause myself. I think this was really good. I don't think I'm going to praise it as high as maybe some other people. Again, I love Japanese translated literature. And I do like these kind of books. I have read a little bit too many kind of ones that are like this one, because I read, what was the other one I just read? The other one I read was Days at the Murasaki Bookshop, which I didn't like this one as much. I think I have seen that more people like this one more, but I would agree. I like this one just slightly more. I gave this one a slightly higher rating, but not much. They're not perfect for me, but I did enjoy them because they're very contemporary. And again, I do like that in my, when I read international, books, is that I like getting, perspectives of that. So I did like that. It was, again, I think it was great. I think it was just, it was interesting. I'm glad I read it, or listened to it on audio. I did from the library, and I'm glad I did that. I just didn't love it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It just, it didn't pull heartstrings too far. Like, again, I could feel for them, but I didn't get quite the emotional impact I thought I would. But well, I still enjoyed it. I got through it, and I do think that if you want to read it, I would say go ahead. I think it's really good. I just wasn't as emotionally connected to me, I guess. I don't know how to explain that. Anyway, but that's the best I can do. And then the last book I finished yesterday was Dead Lake by Darcy Coates. This is has a novella, Dead Lake, and then it has 4 shorter stories. I think 2 of them are about 20 pages, and one's maybe about 15, and then the other one is like 50 pages. So they're pretty short. So, but Dead Lake is the main novella in here, because that's over 120 pages, I think. So anyway, I did really enjoy this. I kind of, as I said, I had a relaxing day yesterday, and I didn't want to pick up the book I was in the middle of. I was like, I want to read a Darcy Coates, and I finally got one on my TBR for the Spookoplathon, because, okay, again, I did stretch the prompt. It was the Broken Mirrors prompt, but I said this is a mirror image. That's good enough. Like, it's in the lake. Anyway, point is, this is the best I can do, and at the time I was rushed. And then after that, I was like, I have to read this book. I want to read this book so bad, because I have several Darcy Coates on my TBR that I want to get to. And this month, this is the first one I picked up on the 14th. So I'm like, I need to read more. Anyway, so these are very spooky ones. These are supernatural-ish in some of them. Again, the main one, Dead Lake, was about an artist who goes to stay at her uncle's very secluded cabin, and after she gets there, she has a feeling she is being watched, and she hears that there have been some missing hikers on the trail that's just beyond the cabin. So there's a lot of weird things, and then she starts seeing weird things, and then she starts painting weird things, and it was really good. I really enjoyed that, the way that went. It was it was not like perfection. It was just a fun time. It was good, pretty spooky in some places. And then the short stories, whose woods these are, I didn't really care for that one so much. I mean, it was a cool monster one. Mannequin, that was the creepy one. That's the creepy one of a basement where there was this mannequin, and this kid has just broken up with his girlfriend, so he gets rents an apartment from somebody's uncle, and he goes down there. There's a spooky mannequin. That was the worst one for me. I think I was like, I shouldn't have read that before bed. Hitchhiker was good. That one went in a direction I didn't expect. I liked that one. And Bellamy also was a very interesting one. I didn't know where that was going to go. And I mean, I kind of guessed one thing about it, but really not most. It was a good have a woman who goes back 30 years after she ran away from like a foster home. It's kind of like, they called it an asylum, but anyway, point is that there was these kids that were all without parents, and the disappearances that happened there. It was really good. Overall, great collection. I'm not a short story collection, so I mean, even novellas, like collection of novellas, it's kind of hard for me. But because this is Darcy Coates and I knew they were spooky and I knew they'd be kind of interesting, I really enjoyed this. And again, this tells me I need to read more of my books that are by Darcy Coates, because I did buy quite a few this month. So, but I got one at least on the TBR. So those are all the books that I finished really quickly. I am still slowly making my way through Mary Barton. I only made it 2 chapters, so need to work on this one. I'm not doing too good on that with Victober, but this one just does not call to me, and I'm having such problems because I want to read more Elizabeth Gaskell because I love North and South, but Mary Barton it does not call to me. So I'm going to see what I can do this week to try to get more of that done. I have made good progress in Fairy Tale. I'm about 38% of the way through this. I started this up again yesterday. So the narrator on this is Seth Numrich. So so far I'm really enjoying this. And we're to the point where we're into the portal fantasy part of this. The beginning part is good, like everybody said. Now I'm worried because the beginning has been really good because we're following Charlie and he rescues his neighbor after he fell off a ladder, and it's him getting connected with him and the man's dog Radar, and then things go from there. Anyway, as I said, I know everybody talks about how the beginning is really good, which it is. I think it's very slice of life, very with some little weird details because it's Stephen King. Anyway, but it was really well done. But I'm not sure now that we're into the portal fantasy part of this story. We'll see how it goes. So far, so good. I'm hoping to make a good chunk of this done on audio this week. Again, it is a long audiobook, but I'm working on that. And then the other book that I picked up was The Mountain in the Sea by Ray Naylor. Yesterday my brain was just not ready for this. This is like a science, this is a sci-fi, I would say, and it has to do with maybe some very interesting octopuses. I think it's off of Vietnam. Anyway, point is that this one person scientist gets called in to this place that's been fenced off by kind of a group, and I don't know if they're military, but not. I don't think they're attached to a certain country. I think they're a company. Anyway, but they have everything blocked off, and they're thinking that they're able to communicate with this octopus, this big one. So we'll see. I'm only about 80 pages in, so I'm not very far, but it's a lot denser than all the other books that I've been reading. So I didn't make a whole lot of progress in this. And then yesterday, I didn't even pick this up. I just read the Darcy Coates because my brain was like, oh, I want to do that instead. So I'm hoping to get back to this because I was enjoying this but it's much more, this is heavier sci-fi than I was. Again, I didn't realize what it would be like, so I was taking a chance. I don't know. So this one is for my Mary Shelley prompt on the Spookoplathon. I had pulled Semiosis, but I didn't feel like reading that. But this one had been calling to me, and I just was like, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. Now, I'm glad I did. I just don't know if I'm going to finish it this month. Like, I might be reading other books around this one. I mean, I'm going to try to read a good chunk of it today, and then maybe I'll read something else later tonight. And my brain is melted after trying to read this, but we'll see. But I am enjoying this. So, anyway, because it sounds good. And then, so the books that I'm going to read in the next week, because I'll be working on those 3 that I'm in the middle of. And then I'm going to start Bayou Moon tomorrow by Alona Andrews. This is book 2 in the Edge series. T and all the books and I are continuing our buddy read of Alona Andrews stuff. So this is book 2 and we are looking for this. This is like the chunkiest Alona Andrews book. So it's like 447 pages. So it's going to be a long one. I don't know what happens in this one at all. I just know that one of the male character, I think, is a shifter. And again, this is a place where the Edge is kind of in between 2 worlds. Our world is called the Broken, where there is no magic. The Edge has magic, but not as much as the Weird, which is where there's a lot of magic. So I'm not sure where this one takes place. I'm guessing somewhere near the Edge, which is the first book on the Edge was one. I love that book. Like, I just adored that book. And so I'm not sure how this is going to go, because this is the first series of theirs. They change couples, like in the next book. So they like Hidden Legacy, we had 3 books of a couple before it switched to another couple. But this one is like, the next book is somebody. I was not expecting it until I picked it up after we finished the other book. I didn't know that. So, we'll see how this goes. I mean, as I said, I really enjoyed the first book and what happens there. I was kind of hoping it would continue with them, but now I'm like, oh, so we'll have to see if we get glimpses of my characters in that one. But anyway, so I'm looking forward to this with Tia, and we start on Monday. So that'll be definitely read. And then the books that are, and this was for the prompt of Michael Myers or a sequel. So that one for Spookoplathon. So I still haven't decided which of the King books I'll read for the other Stephen King prompt I have. I have one Stephen King prompt, which is Stephen King. And then I use the royalty side for one of these. I'm either going to read the Rebel King or King of Battle and Blood. So I'm not sure which of these I will read. One of these maybe this week. We'll see. I do want to pick up, I'm pretty sure this will be the next book I pick up, but we will see. Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. I know my copy isn't really green, but it's green. Everybody else's copy is green, but the Barnes & Noble copy isn't really. It's just kind of light. It's lightly green. We're going to go with that. Anyway, point is, this has to do with a vampire who's trying to sell some property, and I think there's ghosts or something. I'm not sure. I just want to try an Olivia Blake that I think I'm going to enjoy. So we'll see. And then I did pick The Stardust Thief as a randomized off my TBR by Chelsea Abdallah. So I don't know if I'm going to get to that this week. This might be a last week of the month thing because this is pretty big. Yeah, it's 460 pages, so it's not too bad, but it's the beginning of another series. But I do own it, so we will see what happens with that. So I think that's it. Sorry I went quite long, but I did read 6 books this week, which I'm kind of surprised about. I am still in the middle of a lot of books that I was already in the middle of from last week. 2 of them. I just, and then I have some other books that I want to get to that I started in September that I haven't finished, but I didn't get them on the Spookoplathon rolls, so we'll see. I will do one more set of rolls on this next week. I don't think I have anything else planned this week. It's going to be, I have to go back to work on Monday, darn it, after having a day off, but yeah, that was a busy day off. Anyway, so today I'm just going to, as I said, I'm going to try to make some progress on things. We'll see what happens. I need to stop buying books. I have bought so many books in the last few weeks that I need to stop. So hopefully I can do that as well. So let me know what you guys are reading. Are you taking part in Spookoplathon? How are your rolls going? As I said, I have a lot of doubles, so I have quite a few books still to get through that I want to try to get to. We'll see how I do. And then my Victober is kind of stalling out. I just think is Mary Barton. I just think it's a story that doesn't call to me. So I will, as I said, I'm going to try to find a way to read some of that every day to get through it. But that one is just not calling to me. And but I want to get through it because I want to get through Gaskell. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. Anyway, so that's it. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.